Game week 1 team reveal. After a long summer, we are finally here with the game week 1 deadline today. And in this video, I'm going to reveal what my team is exactly looking like and a couple of headaches that I still have to decide on. So make sure you do drop a like on this video. Make sure you do smash that subscribe button. We're aiming for 7k before the deadline. You legends have got it so close. Can we get over the line? So without further ado, let's get into today's game week 1 team reveal. Right then guys, so first up, the goalkeeper, and I currently have it on Onana. This guy's been in my team for a fair few weeks now, and I'm really struggling to shift him. Now, it's worth noting, Matt Turner has made his transfer from Arsenal to Nottingham Forest, so we have a playing 4 million goalkeeper. Therefore, rotating goalkeepers is actually a thing now. Someone like Johnston, someone like Pickford is still on my radar, it is worth noting. But at the time of recording, Onana is in my team. He would simply sit there week in, week out from my side. Now, the reason why I've gone for Onana, first and foremost, Man United's defence I really do rate. And with Luke Shaw kind of being priced out by other brilliant value defenders, I kind of want a piece of that Man United defence. And Onana feels like the right route to go for at only 5 million. Also worth noting, great home fixtures in the opening 6 game weeks, and importantly, what it does look like is Onana could be great on the bonus baseline with his passing tiers that he does do. So if Man United were to keep a clean sheet, there is a good chance that Onana will be in and amongst the bonus points. The only real question mark I have about the goalkeeper areas, do I want to rotate, and do I potentially want to save 0.5 million to invest elsewhere in this squad? But at the time recording, he is locked in to my team as the goalkeeper. Moving into the defence, and these three have been ever present in my team for the last few weeks, especially if you've been tuning in to last night's live stream. Estupinan, Gabriel and Chilwell have just been in. It makes sense for my team. Estupinan in the opening 3 game weeks is such a fantastic option because of the high ceiling that he offers. One of those rare defenders that offers both clean sheet potential and importantly attacking potential. And he is going to start the first 3 guaranteed. And then after game week 3, we can assess whether we bench him or sell him if Brighton defence are looking quite ropey and the fixtures do take a turn for the worse. Gabriel has been in since the game launched. I don't really have to talk about Gabriel right now, apart from the fact I choose him over Saliba because of his expected goals per 90 being better than that of Saliba's. And I'm choosing Gabriel over Timber just because of that slight risk of rotation once Zinchenko returns to the Arsenal team. I think there will be some game time shared between those two. And Chilwell versus John Stones. I've had this debate before, and it very much is a case of, I think John Stones is definitely the safer FPL option. I think clean sheets are more guaranteed in that Man City team, no doubts about it, especially over the opening few game weeks. But with Ben Chilwell, what we saw in pre-season, he is basically playing as a left winger. Every opportunity he can get, he is getting forward to fully stretch that flank, with the left winger inverting into half spaces. And because of that very reason, I think Ben Chilwell is such an exciting option and probably the highest ceiling defender in the game, outside arguably of Trent Alexander-Arnold. But this guy is 2.5 million cheaper than Trent. And for that very reason, I know I want Chilwell from game week 3. So I feel like just getting it done, not having to book a transfer later down the line. And realistically, Liverpool at home against Trent on that right flank, I actually think is an opportunity for points, as that really is where they are exposed. So this is the 3. These 3 are definitely locked into my team. Now for the midfielders. Now there are 3 here that are locked, absolutely locked, in Saka, Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. There isn't a world where I go without those 3. I get myself the Arsenal investment with the great fixtures, and importantly, Man United investment for their decent fixtures. Even in game week 2, I view that as a goal fest against someone like Spurs. I think there's going to be plenty of goals, and having double attack in that game is not a bad thing at all. But there is a few question marks right now. So at the time of recording, I am happy with the combination of Mbeumo and Martinelli. For me, Mbeumo at 6.5 million is my preferred long-term option. Now, the one debate I do have, because for me it's Mbeumo versus Mitoma. I think Eze is an amazing option, a brilliant talisman in that Crystal Palace team. But I want to invest in the team that put up decent team numbers. And Eze's Crystal Palace didn't really do that for me last year. So it's going to put a really emphasis on Eze basically being the talisman once again. And I'm more tempted to go towards either the team that is producing 2xG per 90 in Brighton, or the guy who is on penalties and playing for a top team in Bryan Mbeumo. So I'm currently leaning towards Mbeumo. He is going to be fit. He's been training. I think he will be available for the fixture. He's on penalties and he's guaranteed game time, which is really, really important. When I look at Mitoma, I would argue the first three are as good as they get, especially in the home game against Luton. And it's quite scary to go without a Brighton asset in game week 1. But the rotation risk of Matoma over the opening three could be high, especially with the introduction of Europa League. And importantly with Brighton, the points get shared about. I do think if Brentford are going to do well in the opening game weeks, Mbeumo is going to be at the heart of everything good in that team. We can see a situation where Brighton do well and Matoma doesn't even get involved in the goals. They are that sort of team. So right now I'm leaning towards Mbeumo, but if we were to get some sort of team news that he is a touch and go option going into game week 1, that will swiftly move over to Matoma. Now the other debate that I really need to have with this team, but I'm comfortable right now going for Martinelli at 8 million. The reason why I've had a little bit of pause about this is first and foremost the news about Harry Kane leaving to go Bayern Munich. It looks like he's on a plane to have medical tests for Bayern, meaning that both Richarlison and Maddison are FPL options once again. Maddison was already, he was on the cards, but I wanted to wait a few game weeks to see how he would adapt in that Spurs team. But Richarlison is now emerging as one of the best options at 7 million. The big thing for me, I want to see how Spurs actually adapt without Harry Kane. And with the opening two fixtures, Brentford and Man United, I feel comfortable maybe investing in a Spurs asset come game week 3, once we know if they are actually a better or worse team without Harry Kane, because it just feels weird not having Harry Kane in a Spurs team. But Martinelli versus Odegaard is the real debate for me. It's all about high ceiling, explosive asset in Martinelli versus guaranteed minutes of Odegaard. And because injury time is going to be added on considerably more this season, I'm starting to weigh towards maybe going for the minutes options rather than the explosive options in Martinelli. So that is a last debate that I need to have. Again, if I do make any changes, I will update you guys over on Twitter. But importantly, I will be doing a TikTok live from 4:30 to the deadline. So make sure you do check that out. Link will be in the bio. So for me, Martinelli is in. I'm hoping that his minutes will be good enough in the opening game weeks to just match Odegaard and if not outscore him. And then I can look to maybe downgrade him later down the line for the essential Spurs player once it emerges in game week 3. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And last up in the starting 11, we have the forwards, the goal scorers of this team. Haaland is Haaland. I've said about this. There is no negotiating here. He is in the team. And captaincy, spoiler alert, is going to be on him for game week 1. Now, Watkins is the man that has been locked into my team since the news of Nkunku's injury, and of course Gabriel Jesus being out. It has made it very easy to go for him. However, I do think there is a clear argument that João Pedro emerges as a great option. There is a world where we could go, for example, Watkins down to João Pedro, leave money in the bank, and target João Pedro for that Luton at home game, game week 2, when their fixtures are fantastic. Now, the big thing for me is I know exactly what I'm getting with Watkins. I'm getting guaranteed minutes, I'm getting penalties, and I'm getting a player playing for an improving Aston Villa team under a manager that I fully trust. The downside, game week 1 isn't very good away against Newcastle, but then game week 2 at home against Everton is fantastic. So over the first game week, yes, I prefer João Pedro, but over 3 game weeks, while Brighton's fixtures are great, I fully expect Watkins to outscore João Pedro over that period. And the big thing for me is I can come down from Watkins to any other option in the game if I want to. I personally feel like if I go João Pedro in my forward line, he does well in game week 1, but an injury happens somewhere else in my team. I then use the money in the bank to go and improve the side, and I'm stuck with João Pedro when he eventually becomes a rotation risk, no doubt, once European football emerges. So for me, I just think Watkins is that safe pick to go alongside Haaland and a player that I don't have to worry about until other options step up and show that they need to come into my team. And that's the route that I'd rather go for in this squad. Now, looking at the bench, Matt Turner is in. If you don't have Matt Turner, he needs to be your backup goalie at 4 million. He will be the number 1 starter for Nottingham Forest unless they were to make a late bid for Dean Henderson later on in the transfer window. But even still, Turner is the best 4 million because his minutes are going to be locked in for at least the opening 4-5 game weeks minimum. Udogie is my 4.5 million defender, and this is the last decision that I need to make in this team. I've looked at rotation pairs. Make sure you do check out my previous live stream. And if I was to, for example, keep a Stupinan in the team, the best defender that rotates with him, in my eyes, is Spurs' Udogie. Game week 4, game week 5, Spurs have decent defensive fixtures. Then a Stupinan can come back in for his great game week 6 fixture. Then Udogie comes back in for game week 7. Now, of course, long-term planning is great, but so much can happen in the game. So I'm not necessarily hanging my hat on that method, but I like what I'm seeing with Udogie. And realistically, I don't want a defender for the opening 3 game weeks. I'm happy with the 3-5-2 formation. I just simply need a defender that can sit on my bench and offer something if it comes about it. And I like the upside of Udogie, the benefit of having potential clean sheets, but importantly, attack and return. So he is in right now, but that is the last decision that I need to make in this team. Kabore at 4 million and Mbama at 4.5 million forward. That's my team, guys. That is how it is looking. The captaincy is going to be on Erling Haaland with the vice captaincy on Bukayo Saka. I feel really comfortable going down that route. And for me, I've never even contemplated going for the captaincy on Saka, even though in some models he is predicted to score more points than Haaland. I got burnt horribly last season with Haaland, and I don't want that again, especially on a Friday night where I want to enjoy my football. So Haaland is going to be captain, vice captain to Saka, and this is the team. Again, there may be some updates, and if that is the case, I will update you over on the YouTube community, but importantly, over on my TikTok live from 4:30 to 6:30. Yes, guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's Game Week 1 team reveal. I really hope it has provided some value, and I hope you have a fantastic opening game week of the season. I just want to say a massive thank you for tuning into the content this pre-season. It has been amazing, the support. We've just got over 7,000 subscribers, which you guys are absolute legends. And if you can, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be massively appreciated. That just leaves me to say, have a great game week, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.